of Growth live chat number 5. I'm Greg Brinkley, and I'm joined, as always, by...
Hey, it's Sammy over here on the other side of the world. And yeah, we made it all the way to number 5, Cinco, huh? It's 5 long, nice episodes full of great content for everybody. And all those people listening, thanks for the feedback and for all the views that we've seen so far.
Yes, and got to start our episode out with a plug for everybody listening. Go to www.livetpg.com and click buy the book now. You can actually go and purchase the first version of the Pursuit of Growth book. Would love for you to read it, share your thoughts, comments, and feedback with us. But today we're going to talk a little bit about something that's actually highlighted pretty heavily in the book in our health chapter, and that's exercise and working out, which is a big priority that Sammy, both you and I have implemented in our lives that we've done for many, many, many years now. But like each and every one of us in the world today, we've been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic. And so whether it's health clubs, gyms, sporting leagues, exercise classes, they've all been affected. So we've all had to pivot and change our focus to exercise. And in some cases, just getting the motivation or the time or the bandwidth to actually be able to do it. And so we thought today we would talk about some of the challenges that you and I have faced during this pandemic, and then some of the things that we're doing to make sure that we're hitting our exercise goals and making that a priority in our lives.
Yeah, and I think that's a good frame of reference. Today is May 14th, so we're still kind of in this whole mess of a situation with COVID, but a lot of us have been adapting. A lot of people are adjusting the way they think and the way they do now. And so I want to talk a little bit about routines as well. I want to talk a little bit about goals and then some adjustments too that other people have made. And then also leave, as always, with some tactical tips and some tricks and some things that I know I've found success with here recently. And I think that other people can as well. So with that, Greg, I'll pitch it back to you, and I want to ask you, so tell me a little bit about your fitness routine, maybe pre-COVID, and then now in this new state of normal.
Yeah, so pre-COVID, I had a pretty strict routine. I would work out every day, Monday through Friday, and then at least one time on the weekend. And typically my workout was the first thing I did when I got home from work. And so on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, those were my weightlifting days. And so as soon as I got off work, I would drive straight to my gym, go and change and do about an hour workout before heading back home to take on the rest of the evening. And then on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, those were my cardio days. So I would do variations of sprints, long distance running, jumping jacks. I might go and work on a heavy bag and do punches and kicks and martial arts, Muay Thai, those type of things. But trying to kind of have a good balance of both weightlifting and doing a little bit of cardio. And so, over the past, probably year, that had been my habits and my regiment. And it's really a big part of my day for stress release and just being able to kind of decompress from the long day at work. And when COVID-19 hit, of course, the first thing that happened were gyms closed. And so right there, I lost, 3 days of my routine. So I had to figure out how was I going to continue to actually work out in terms of the weightlifting. Cardio is a little bit easier because, we can all go outside and run or do different types of activities. But I had to actually sit down and plan and strategize on how can I come up with ways to work on the weightlifting aspect and hit all my different body parts here at home. And so that was a big obstacle, but a fun challenge to take on.
Yeah, and I think that some people are affected more than others. So my fitness routine, pretty typical prior to COVID, was I'm more of a jogger. And so I don't do a lot of weights, or I wasn't doing a lot of weights. I wasn't doing a lot of exercises outside of just running and jogging, as I like to say. But that was pretty much it. And I was pretty consistent. I was 3 days a week, and then one typically very long run for me, at least on the weekend. So maybe a 5 mile or a 6 mile or something like that. And I was pretty consistent on that. I think I'd even hit a couple months where I was trying to do 1 5K a week and that kind of stuff. And so just a lot of outside time running and that kind of stuff. And but I've typically been a morning workout person, just because I have two young kids and family, and so it seems like a lot of the day happens towards the end of the day. So like the mornings are my only time to really get it done without it getting too dark and that kind of stuff. And so, especially if you're out running around in the Frisco, Texas area, we have coyotes that live around us. So, bobcats and stuff like that. So, I just kind of keep my eye to the critters that are out there. But or here during COVID now, one of the biggest things that adjustments I've had is that I really wanted to start implementing more weights. I was trying to get to build a little lean muscle mass and really increase my strength. So I turned to one of my favorite things that I learned about after being certified in a health and wellness fitness plan was a body weight Tabata workouts. And so what those are is 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off, and that's work, rest, work, rest. And you can do that for about 5 minutes or so. And it's an intense workout. So they call it HIIT training, so high intensity interval training. But there's a billion of those on YouTube, and I found some favorites, and I can link those, or I can tell you here in a little bit. But the biggest thing that I've done in my adjustments has, one, still been waking up early. I still maintain that same time, even though it's easier to sleep in now, because I don't have any type of commute or anything. But I wake up about 5:30 to 5:45, somewhere in that range, and then I immediately get my clothes on, and then I go in the living room, pop on YouTube on the Apple TV, go to my people that I'm going to watch, and then I start doing those, and I do those 3 days a week. And then I still do the running too. I try and run 3 days a week. And so I've got a good mix there, and I kind of take a day off. Sometimes I take 2 days off, just depending on what we have. Wednesdays seem to be a good take the day off kind of day for me. But that's kind of the before and during that I have now. And so far, I feel like I've seen some pretty good success.
Yeah, I love that. And similar to you, one of the things that I did was I went to the internet and I just started researching, what are some good home workouts that I can do. And one of the first things I thought about was, okay, well, I'm going to buy some dumbbells. I'm going to buy some weights that I can either have shipped to my home, or I can go pick up at a local sporting goods place that was doing curbside pickup. But as soon as I got online and started searching for those items, I realized very quickly that they were sold out everywhere. And so it became apparent to me that I was going to have to be creative. And so, I knew in terms of, what's something that you can do anywhere, push-ups and sit-ups. And so I knew that was something that I could incorporate. And as I started researching more and more, I learned that there's different forms and variations of push-ups you can do that hit different body parts. So, for instance, your standard push-up, your hands are about like this on the ground, and you're keeping your elbows in and you're doing push-ups, which, really kind of works your chest primarily. But if you turn your hands in like this and make like a pyramid, a little triangle, well, then that actually works your triceps. And so I was able to start figuring out, okay, well, I want to be able to work out my chest, my back, my triceps, my shoulders, my abs, and my legs. And so I started researching online, what are variations of push-ups that I can do to hit those body parts? What are different types of movements and just different types of body weight exercises that I can do? And I was shocked at how many variations that I found that I can continue to kind of trick things up, and keep my body guessing, keep myself motivated. And I literally just wrote out a new plan of, this is what I'm going to do on Mondays, this is what I'm going to do on Wednesdays, this is what I'm going to do on Fridays. And I think the important thing is, and I realized this from research that I've done in working out historically, is sometimes more important than the workout itself is just making sure you do some type of workout so that you really make sure that it becomes habitual. I'll be transparent. One of the things that works so well for me is when I go to the gym, there's other people around. And for whatever reason, I flourish just knowing that there's other people around me. Even though I'm not talking to them or interacting with them, just the fact that there's other people around tends to motivate me and push me. Well, when I come back to my apartment, it's just me. And I've had to find different ways to kind of really motivate myself, whether I put a movie on in the background or put a podcast on or turn some music up loud, just something to really kind of keep my energy flowing and really keeping me focused. And then fortunately, I found something that's I'm really excited about over the past couple of weeks. And that's there's a park that's located about a half a mile from where I live. And it's kind of become a place in the city in uptown Dallas where I live where tons of people are going and working out outdoors. And so it's been fun for me to go there and take a lot of the different body weight ideas that I've had, and I bring a towel with me and either put it on the concrete or put it on the ground. And I do my ab works, my body weight, my push-ups, or whatever it might be. And I'll spend an hour outdoors just working out. And to be quite honest with you, I think I've enjoyed doing that even more than going to the gym and working out on all the equipment. And so, kind of in summary, again, it was researching, writing a plan together, and then just making sure that even if there were days where I just did not feel like I had the energy or I had the motivation to just get through a workout, get it done, check that box. So again, it continues to have that active progress, which is leading to become a habitual part of my day.
Yeah, and I think that in the past you had mentioned that you've been working out for quite some time, like all your life. After you started, it's been a really good habit and routine that you've put into your life. And I've kind of been a little bit of the up and down, like for years, playing sports all my life. I was like a consistent workout person, but I never really enjoyed it. I just did it because I needed to do it. And, I felt like I would get injured if I didn't do it. Then I went through a long period of time where I didn't do it, then I did, then I did, then I did. And finally now, one of the biggest turning points in my life was being way obese and then understanding that like my health was in jeopardy if I didn't make a change. And we've talked about that in the past, but essentially being like around 300 and who knows, 315 pounds because the scale stopped. And now I'm sitting here at 185. And after a lot of hard work and diet and exercise there, nutrition, everything goes into it. But one of the biggest things that I felt that some people should know is that you need to just, you can always start wherever you are. Don't feel like if you hear from you, who's been a consistent habitual person who works out all the time, it's like, you're like, oh, well, that guy's always done that. Like the guy's always worked out. It's too late for me because I'm living proof right here. It's not too late for anybody. You can start your fitness routine, but that's one of the key things I want to touch on is that you need to build a routine. You need to start with something. For instance, just walking. Like if you make a commitment
Yes.
to do 10,000 steps a day. So if you have an Apple Watch or buy a little cheap pedometer on Amazon or whatever, just get those 10,000 steps a day. That's roughly about 5 miles or so. You will be surprised at just trying to hit those steps, what that will do for your psyche. And you start to build up a little bit of routine and you're like, okay, well, that becomes easier. Something that I've done here in this month of May that I actually didn't know I was doing was on the Apple Watch. There's a fitness, a move ring, an activity ring, and then like a ring for standing up. And like if you close all those, like, hooray, you closed all your rings, right? Well, I didn't realize this, but like I'd consistently been closing them, and all three of them every single day. And then I realized just, I think 3 days ago, I was like, oh, wow, I have a streak going of like always closing it. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to keep it up for the rest of the month. No matter what I need to do, I'm going to close those three rings. I'm sad to report that I misread May 1st. I missed it by one. No, on May 1st, for some reason, I didn't do anything. It's apparently, according to my watch. And then 2 nights ago, I missed my goal by 1 minute of standing up in 1 hour. And I would have stayed up, but it was already like 11:45, and I was like, I can't stay up for another hour, like to get into the new hour to stand up in. So I was like, I'm just gonna go to bed. So those are my only two misses, but so far I've been pretty consistent. But what it's taught me is that you have the routine, right? So like this, I think it was Wednesday morning when I said I usually take a break. I woke up, I was exhausted. I was like, I just didn't get a good night of sleep. And I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna take a shower. So I went to go turn on the shower. I was like, nope, I'm gonna be mad at myself. And so I went in, turned off the shower, put on my shoes, went outside, and just went for a 25-minute walk. I was like, I'm not working out today, I'm just at least walking. So getting that habit of telling yourself, you can do this, you can do this, you can be consistent. is key. But yeah, I agree. And it's anything, right? It's anything you can do. Starting with weights, body weights, like I've done, to lifting weights, like you've said, and just getting those workouts together, getting that activity, get your body flowing. And just like you mentioned, I have found now that if I don't do it in the day, like in the morning, I have a worse day. And I don't want to psych myself out with that, but my day is not as easy on myself from a stress anxiety level um, case if I don't do that in the morning and exert myself a little bit more. And I learned that actually from one of my heroes, Joe Rogan, on his podcast. He said, he always has a better day when he works out in the morning. So I've been pretty consistent on that.
Yeah, I love that. And again, I think you made a great point where um, define what it is that you enjoy doing or that you believe you're capable of doing. So even if it's just walking, whether it's you're going to walk for 20 minutes a day or you're going to, do some type of cardio exercise, whether it's jumping jacks or, light running, light jogging, define what it is that you believe that you have an opportunity to implement and to stick with, and then come up with some type of a goal. Whether it's a goal that you're going to work out a certain amount of days during a month, or you're going to do some type of consecutive streak. And we talk about in the book the whole power of having a plan. Finding people to hold you accountable or to do it with. Um, you know, Identifying your SMART goals. Be specific about what these measurements are in terms of what you want to do. Organize it. Look at it daily. Make it a part of your life. And I think maybe even more important in terms of exercise of all these things is really define the why behind you doing it. And I think you actually mentioned this, Sammy, when you were sharing about how you were at a point in your life where you needed to lose weight because it was a big health issue for you, and you did it. You had a pretty substantial why of what you wanted to do. And I think in this COVID-19 world that we're living in right now, in terms of the media and the news and our politicians, they're telling us, a lot of the same stuff that we've heard for the last couple months. Wash your hands, wear masks, social distance. But one thing that's not being reinforced that is not arguable is the importance of building up your personal immune system. And you can do that by obviously eating healthy. So I think hopefully this COVID-19 has taught us all a lesson that we need to really be focusing on what we're putting in our bodies and what we're putting in our bodies consistently. I think too, and these are in no importance or order of importance, but sleep, making sure your body is rested, that you're giving yourself the ability to not be run down and opening yourself up for viruses and different things to really be able to impact you, and then getting good exercise. If you can do those three things, and there's more than just those three things, but if you can just make a priority during COVID-19 to start working on how can I grow in my diet, my sleep, and my exercise, you will set yourself up to build a stronger immune system, which is going to give you more energy, which is going to give you more strength, more skill. It's going to, like you said, it's going to make you feel better during your day. It just changes everything when it becomes a habit. And I think what's interesting, and I've lost count with how many people have said this to me, that they always viewed exercise as this chore they had to do. Of like, I've got to just go and spend my time doing it. But as they made it a habit of their lives, it switched. And it went from being a chore to the most powerful part of their day and something that they looked at as being a can't miss opportunity. And you mentioned to me, I've been working out consistently now. That's one of the areas of my life that I've been consistent in for many, many, many years. And it's because I had that switch when I was in college of realizing working out wasn't a chore. It actually just made my life so much better in so many different ways. It's as important to me as any other aspect of my life. And I really hope more people start embracing that as we learn just how important it is to keep our bodies healthy.
Yeah, and I've had the privilege of being certified by someone who's pretty special to me as far as a human being that I've run into in my travels. His name is Dan Miller, and he has a program called the Happy Healthy Human. I'm actually a certified health and wellness coach through that program, and what that is it's a program that touches on some of the things that you talked about too, but very important things. stress, sleep, water, nutrition, exercise, and this little thing called anti-fragile that we need to do, and that's essentially getting your core body temperature up, or your body temperature up to about 102, intentionally, so that you can kill some of those senescent cells, that those zombie cells that live inside you, that are typically attractors for some disease and some just bad things. You want to get rid of those, and heat does that for you. Hence, your body with the fever gets rid of some of the attackers and invaders. But yeah, you hit the nail on the head. It's like it does everything for your body whenever you're doing that. So getting that rest is so important. We don't do it enough. I know that I don't do it enough, and I need to get better at it. But water, especially, like now we're sitting down, we're at the luxury of going over to our refrigerator and pulling out whatever drinks we have in there. Well, if you have something bad, you might get something bad. But I could show you my guilty pleasure, my office trash can that's right next to me. I have about four of those bubbly water kind of cans in there that I've been treating myself with. Still water, but I mean it's a little bit different. But yeah, it's really important to be able to also understand, like, those are the different things you need to do to build your immune system, just like you mentioned. Supplement, get healthy, make this temple that you have, or this meat suit, as my friend Dan always likes to say, like, it's what you have. So strengthen it, harness the power of it, and then get ready to attack the world, because everything is attacking you, right? We're big and we're slow in comparison to everything else out there, so and we're made of delicious meat, so like you got to be careful, like things, in the grand scheme of things are trying to get you, right? So if you look back at Mother Nature. So but one thing I wanted to touch on after that is also, if you have an impediment, there's issues that you may have. Some people, their knees are bad, sometimes neck's bad, arms bad, whatever it is. I personally have a shoulder issue, and so like I can't do full range of motion on my arm, but I'm doing a lot more body weight. So even push-ups, I can't do a complete push-up, freestanding push-up. So I do them on my knees. But again, I just get on my knees and I just knock them out, as much as I can. So that's another thing you need to realize too, is like, don't limit yourself by saying that you can't because of something. Find a way around it. Very specific instance. I was doing one of my body weight Tabata workouts, and there was a high knees section, and I was doing this 4 times in a row. On the very last one, I tweaked my calf muscle. I don't know what it was, but it just, something popped in my calf, and I could not even walk for about a day and a half without like a severe limp. And so I've actually gone back. I'm fully recovered now from what I could tell, but I've gone back to the exact same workout. And now, just because I'm a little gun shy, I don't do the high knees. I step up on the fireplace. Like, I just step up, step down, step up, step down. And I do that consistently. There it is. I made an alteration to something that is keeping me from getting injured, for one, and then 2, from allowing me to continue my workout. So if you have an impediment or an issue, understand that you can find a way around it, because you need to find a way to continue moving your body.
Yeah, Sammy, that made me think of a story that I love telling people about a mutual friend of ours, Lauren Halsey, who we'll have on the podcast soon. And I'll tell this story because I know Lauren has shared this story herself. But this is probably going back about 5 years ago. We actually met up with a mutual friend to go outside and just kick a soccer ball around, because at the time you and I had started a soccer team, and so I wanted to brush up on my soccer skills. And through the course of the day running around, Lauren made the comment to me. She's like, "Well, I've got to stop because I'm tired, but more than anything, my knee hurts, and that's my problems. I can't run because I have a bad knee, and there's nothing I can do about it." And I kind of gave her a little bit of a hard time, kind of the whole, well, with that kind of attitude, of course you're not going to ever be able to do anything with your knee. And just challenged her a little bit on thinking about what are other things you can do if you really want to be in a different type of shape. And Lauren was always a girl that was an athlete and in very good health. But in terms of sporting stamina, she wasn't necessarily at her peak. And to fast forward to the end of the story, and not because of anything that I said, but she made a decision about maybe 6 months later that she wanted to challenge herself, and she became a triathlete. And so Lauren went from being a girl that could barely run for 20 minutes on a park soccer field, kicking a ball around, to running marathons, to running full triathlons, and actually doing very well in them. And now she's probably the most in shape person that I know. And so she went from I can't to now literally traveling the country and entering triathlons in multiple states and qualifying for these huge races around the country. So it's a pretty inspirational story that here probably in the next couple of months we'll have to get her on and actually have her tell her testimony of how she accomplished that.
Yeah, actually, it's funny. I talked to her today, as a matter of fact. We had a phone call, and so we were just kind of chatting about certain things, and we are just talking about life in general and stuff. So it's funny we brought her up here. But yeah, not only is she like all over the nation, but she's all over the world. Like she's done triathlons and Ironmans in like Ireland and all Hawaii, all over the place. I think Hawaii. I don't know. I can't remember. She's been all over the place. I can
Yeah.
do that. So. But yeah, to hear her get excited about it too was pretty inspiring. And that kind of leads me to another thing that another point that I wanted to point out real quick. People have asked me too, like, how do you get? I think you've even asked me before. How do you work out so early in the morning, right? How do you stay focused on that, and how can you do it? And it's like, well, one, I built it into my routine, but two, it's one of your sayings that I love that you've said you've heard from somewhere else, that preparation equals separation. And so I lay my clothes out every single night. I have them draped over my bathtub, and I've got them in order of the way that I get dressed in the morning. So as soon as I wake up in the morning, I turn on the light in the restroom, I remove whatever garments I have on for that time, and I put on all those garments from the athletic shorts all the way up to socks. And then I walk out in the living room, put on my hat, and then I get ready to go. So again, get prepared, get ready. Just that way, there are no excuses for you in the morning. And you're like, oh, I can't find my socks, or where are my shoes? Just spend 3 minutes max to get prepared for the next day. If you need a water bottle,
Yeah.
go ahead and fill it up. Like, just have it ready. Like, whatever it is, get a towel, get everything, and be consistent about that. For me, I had a little freak out moment the other morning because I couldn't find my key. And I have a key in like a running belt, and I could not find it. And I don't want to leave the door unlocked with the family at home when I'm leaving at 5:45 in the morning. So I ended up finding my car keys, locked it obviously, and then I just ran with my car keys in my little belt. So it was fine again, but I had to adapt quickly. Um, uh, what was I going to say? Spoiler alert! I actually found my key. It was on the counter. I must have missed it somehow. But again, preparation equals separation. But Greg, on that note, I kind of want to transition into one thing as we kind of start to wind down this talk a little bit. But talk about some of the new hobbies and new experiences. Something that I know you and I are both very passionate about, and I will have to admit, like, after hearing you talk about it for a while, you were the one that inspired me to look into a little bit further. But that little new habit that I have a feeling we're both going to be really, really deep into.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this. And I think it goes to whether it's hobbies and experiences, which what we're about to talk about, falls directly into, or exercising, which it's equal parts to both. Seek things that you enjoy doing or things that excite you. And I can tell you, if you're just starting out brand new, just go to Google, type in forms of exercise. What can I do to exercise? And you will find lists of things that feature hundreds of ideas and different things that you can do. Go through those and see what interests you, and just start somewhere, right? And just start active progress moving forward. Come up with some small goals to pursue. But for you and I, Sammy, I guess this is for me going back maybe a a little less than a year ago. I'd been doing mixed martial arts, and that was a really, really fun activity that I love and was getting into. And you and I had both talked about, I was considering actually doing a legit boxing match and actually trying to train and entering a fight. And for a variety of variables and reasons, the timing was never right. Things just never really came together. But I started getting to where I wanted to seek a new hobby. And quite honestly, while I still do mixed martial the training that I was doing previously was taking a lot of time commitment. It was taking a toll on my body, and it was an expensive habit or hobby to have because I had to have a gym membership and a trainer. And so I was starting to think about what would something else that I could look to pursue and start working on. And I came across mountain bike riding, trail riding. And like we do with so many things that we're interested in, I got online and went to YouTube and started watching some videos of people doing things I'll probably never do on a mountain bike. But then a lot of things that I thought I could do, jumps and crazy climbs and beautiful locations. And I just got inspired. And I started thinking, when I was a kid, without a doubt, outside of basketball, baseball, and football, and actually, you know what? I take that back. Right alongside those three items, my favorite thing to do as a kid was get on my bike and ride. And I probably spent more time riding my bicycle as a kid than anything that I ever did. More than video games, more than TV, more than sports. It was just riding my bike with my buddies in the area that we lived. And so after doing some research on what would be a good trail bike for me, and looking around the Dallas Metroplex and the state of Texas, and then actually even places beyond, like Colorado, of destination mountain bike trails that I could venture to, I decided, you know what, this is going to be something I'm going to invest some time in. And so I went, pulled the trigger, bought myself my first mountain bike or trail bike, and actually just started riding around the city. I live in downtown Dallas, basically. And we have some street trails and some jogging trails that are made for bikers as well, and just started riding. And instantly that childhood nostalgia and just joy of being on a bicycle just came right back to me. And as the weather started getting better, I was sharing with you how I can't wait to go and start trying out some of these trails in the different parks and areas around our Metroplex. And I got to say, I was super pumped when you told me, you know what, I'm thinking about getting a mountain bike myself.
Yeah, it was. I caught the bug, and honestly, I'd been thinking about it a little bit because I see families riding around so much together, and the girls, my young daughters, have bikes and all that kind of stuff. And it's hard to keep up with them, honestly, when they're on their bikes, they're moving. I had to go into like a brisk walk or a slight jog just to keep up with them. And I was like, well, you know what? I should probably get a bike to just put around on and that kind of stuff. And then I had known you'd gotten one and you talked about it. I'm a techie gear guy anyway. So like I was looking at the specs and all that kind of stuff. And we had done a trail race, 5K race. And I remember like during the race, I was running and I was actually running very slowly as I typically do. But there was a guy that I heard a bell behind me. And I turned around, there's a guy on a mountain bike who was just right up on me. And he passed me and he was like just cruising up the trail. And I was like, man, that looks like fun. So when you said you'd got one, talked about it, I started to scope out from the specs and gear standpoint. I kind of knew what I wanted or whatever, but the impetus really for me to pull the trigger more than anything was when I popped my calf muscle. Whatever I did to it, I was like, I think all the self diagnoses and Googling and YouTubing, I learned I was probably in for about a 2-week hiatus from running and or jumping or anything like that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna go pull the trigger. So I went to the store, I found me a mountain bike or a hybrid bike, whatever it's called, mountain bike, and found one and got it sized and everything like that. And here we go. And we've already had one trail ride. I think we have another one coming up here soon. And I've been pretty consistent in doing it at least 2 times a week, which is pretty good for now, but hoping to increase that. So yeah, you never know what's going to inspire you, what's going to motivate you, what's going to, find a new hobby plus a new, exercise routine. And too, because yeah, don't get me wrong. I track it on my watch and I count that as a workout because you can. And a lot of times it's a very punishing workout. It feels great too. But again, that childhood nostalgia, those early morning, late night rides, all that kind of stuff does play into it as well.
Yeah, and for me, there's a sense of adrenaline to it because I guess the great thing about trail riding is you can take it as easy as you want, or you can really hunker down and just go after it. And so it offers people so many different ranges of the type of workout or experience you get. And one thing that I'm kind of wondering, uh, I guess in terms of biking and those type of physical sports, I probably tend to fall a little bit more on the daredevil side of things without having the skill to execute maybe at the level that a daredevil would need. And just to give you an example of this, I was thinking about this earlier this week. When I was a kid and I just had a little, your basic little dirt bike, I just loved anytime I was riding around and out in the woods where we lived, if there was something that I thought I could jump, or there was a creek that I could go over, or just to be honest, if I could show off in front of my friends by doing something unique and stupid, I would do it. And I crashed so much on my bike that literally it became of my little gang of buddies. It became a almost a goal of how many days in a row I would crash doing something. And it got so bad that there were days where I did not crash. That as we were riding home at the end of the evening, I would go and crash on purpose so that the streak would continue. And so I remember that, and I apply that to nowadays. And I'm probably going to ask you to hold me accountable that when I come up with, oh, I'm going to go do blank, that you may be the person to say, Greg, think that through, because I'm not 12 anymore, and I don't know that I can heal from some of the crashes that I used to quite as easily. So I think I need to be a little bit conservative, but at the same time, I can't wait to really start pushing it on some of these trails and just really get that adrenaline rush that I'm craving. Cannot wait.
Yeah, I agree. I found, I think I told you the other day, I was just riding around the neighborhood. I went on a frisbee golf course that has some hills, and I saw someone had made a little tiny dirt jump, and I was like, "Oh, that's kind of cool." And I was like, "Well, maybe I'll do that." And then I noticed it kind of dirt jumps down and off like a little mini ledge, which is probably no more than 3 feet, but it looked so far down there. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna play it conservative as well. So yeah, I'll hold you in check if you hold me in check too, because big guys like me, 6'4", we don't fall gracefully by any means, and so I'd like to continue riding and exercising and being fit for my family versus having a cast or who knows tearing what. So with that, Greg, I don't know if you had much more. One of the things I wanted to do for people is leave them some different things that I found online, some of the different exercises I found online. But I'll do that after. If you have anything else you want to cover real quick.
Yeah, I'll just kind of summarize kind of what we talked about, and I think really in terms of exercise in during the COVID-19 pandemic that we find ourselves in, or once our lives return back to some sense of normalcy, which that's a subjective word these days. I think the important thing is I think you need to define your why. Why is exercise important in your life? Two, research and find things that you can do that you're comfortable with, that excite you, that you'll enjoy. Three, put a plan in place to make it a habitual part of, if it's not your day, of at least your week. Find someone to hold you accountable. Maybe it's someone to do these things with, or someone that you check in with. And then five, just enjoy the results that you're going to get over time from living a healthier lifestyle. And again, we talked about it's not just exercise, it's diet, it's water consumption, it's sleep, it's rest. I love how you talked about the HIIT workouts, getting your body temperature up high. So for somebody that may not be an intense, or interested in an intense high speed workout, just spending some time outdoors, raise your body temperature up, doing any of the items that we talked about, simply walking. So just make that a priority of your life, and I can promise you, you will benefit from the results it gives you. So that's kind of my final thoughts.
Nice. And yeah, I just want to add one thing to your list there, because I think that's exactly the list I put together for people. Is that also, don't forget, don't beat yourself up about it.
Yeah,
If you miss a day, or if you can't make it today, or for whatever reason you tweak something or hurt something, or like I did, I was a little down on myself. So, gosh, how did I do that? Why did I do that? And I wasn't doing anything wrong. I was just doing high knees in my living room, and something didn't work out right. So don't beat yourself up. Be careful. Be cautious. But don't give yourself a break either. once you start, don't just say like, don't fall in those bad routines. Like stay strong, stay motivated, use that accountability buddy that you were talking about. That's a key factor there for lifelong fitness too. So, um, but yeah, with
Yeah,
that, go ahead.
and you made me think of one more thing that I want to add in is you mentioned earlier about self-discipline and preparation equals separation. And I actually had a friend of mine not too long ago tell me that he was really impressed that I had such self-discipline in terms of my workout and my attitude towards that. And one of the things that I was thinking about is self-discipline. While there is an attitude component to that, I think the bigger thing about self-discipline isn't just a way of thinking; it's actually preparation. And so I think the important thing about self-discipline in whatever subject you're looking at. So in this example, we're looking at exercise. What are the obstacles that are likely to cause a barrier to working out? So I love how you mentioned earlier that you wake up or before you go to bed at night, you set your clothes out, you get prepared, you have everything ready to go so that when you wake up, you're ready to do it. So you've actually done an active action to be able to set up that self-discipline. For me, back when I was going to the gym, it was packing my gym bag the night before. So when I woke up in the morning, I would take that to work. And so literally I had it all ready to go. So I just had to go straight to the gym, had my gym bag ready to go. So I think it's looking to say, okay, what are the things in our lives that are causing barriers to us doing these different things? And how can we outline and define a response to it that's going to help us to overcome? And that's the preparation that equals the separation from those that do versus those that don't, or those that prepare versus those that don't prepare.
I love it. Well, with that, here's just a couple of resources. And Greg, and please, once I'm done, chime in if you have any other resources too. But I've been going on to YouTube, and I found this channel called Tabata Songs, and that's Tabata Songs. And there's one in particular I've kind of added. You can create a queue, and you can add a list. You can create a list of all these. So like one is a 7-minute workout song with a timer, which I like the ones with timers, so you don't have to set a phone or anything. It shows up on the screen. And that's a Tabata song. And this is a lady named um, Inger Houghton. So IngerHoughton, Inger Houghton. She's super fit, but the thing that I like about her is her workouts are challenging. And number two, she does it in like these awesome like scenery locations. So like one's in Portugal overlooking the water, one's like on the beach, and one's on like I think one's in like Spain or one's in Dubai, like all kinds of cool stuff. So that helps. And then two, there's a guy named Dave. I'm gonna get his last name wrong. Dave Drees, Dreas. I've been following him. He's actually the one that I popped my calf on. I messaged him directly via Instagram, and he was like, "So sorry. To make sure you stretch, that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
But he's got some fantastic workouts, and he's got the timer as well, so it tells you what exercise is coming up, and he's got the timer countdown too. And he's a great motivator. He does everything. He tells you how to adjust it. Like for instance, he just posted one 11 hours ago that I think I might just do in the morning, called Quarantine Total Body HIIT Workout, No Equipment, which, hey, I don't have any equipment. I want a total body HIIT workout. Sounds like my kind of workout. So 11 hours ago, I just got a brand new one. So I know what I'm doing in the morning. So again, preparing to separate myself from my former self. But yeah, YouTube, just go on YouTube, do it on your phone, do whatever you need.
Yeah, and the last thing that I'll say is if you need any other motivation to work out, Google exercise endorphins and just read the first couple articles that come out. When you work out, it forces your body to release
when you exercise,
hormones and chemicals
called endorphins.
Hold on,
These
Google.
endorphins interact with the receptors in your brain
Okay,
to
Google.
reduce your
Stop.
I actually think maybe let Google go ahead and explain it for us.
Right. So wherever it is, right back up here, I got my Google, and so apparently you triggered her, and she was telling us all about it. So.
Well, I think Google is excited that she knows, or is that Alexa that we're talking to?
This one's Google.
Oh, it was Google. Okay. So Google realizes that you've got chemicals in your brain that are basically your feel-good drugs.
Yep.
And when you work out, it releases, whether it's serotonin at the entry levels, or it gets to the when you do a more in-depth workout where you're getting that body temperature up and you're kind of getting that hit activity, those endorphins start releasing.
The heat shock.
And it's literally feel-good drugs for your body. And I think once you get to that point where you recognize when you work out, and you mentioned this, Sammy, when you start your day, there's a difference between when you worked out to when you don't. And I guarantee you, I'm not a scientist, but you could go back and it probably shows it's that endorphin release that you get from those workouts. So whether you care about losing weight or not, whether you care about looking good or not, just how you feel should probably be the most important reason why you're exercising, and get that endorphin release and man, enjoy it every day.
Yeah, the one of the things too that happens when you release those endorphins and that serotonin that comes into your body, it actually converts into melatonin. And so serotonin is the happy juice, and it converts over into melatonin, which then it helps you sleep at night. So think about, some people are like, oh, I'm just tired because I had a rough workout. No, you've actually injected yourself with the sleep hormone or sleep enzyme that is helping you go to sleep. And you did that yourself. You converted serotonin to melatonin. And that, I mean, hey, what better way to take care of yourself than to be actively engaged and then helping your body sleep at night too, which you should be doing. So yeah, overall, I love this topic. I think you do as well. And we'll do many more with these, and we'll have our friend Dan on the podcast as well.
Yes.
And on one of these live things. And you know what, maybe I'll reach out to Dave Dries and maybe Inger Houghton and see if they'll want to come on one day and see what we're up to. But with that, Greg, that's all I had too. So I'll let you close this out.
Yeah. Well, once again, thank you for joining us for live chat. Live chat number 5. Again, go to livetpg.com, buy the book, message us, leave us your thoughts, comments, feedback, and we look forward to connecting again soon. So until then, peace.